Okay, welcome to Zagging 101. My name is Guy Danhoff. We want to thank you guys for tuning in to episode 6. Our mantra is pretty simple. Why others zig, we zag. And all that basically means, guys, is a lot of people out there putting out social media content. They're zigging this way. We want to be the zag, cut right off them. And I absolutely produce attention-grabbing content that always adds value to our audience. Today, we're going to talk on 3 tips on how to create effective video content. And for those of you guys who may be new to Zagging 101, our mission is pretty simple. Our existence is to help the HPE professionals develop your influence, your impact, and your advocacy using a variety and plethora of social media tools. And again, my name is Guy Danhoff. You can see there, I work with MoShape, Missouri Healthy Schools, as well as Shape America in a variety of roles, all related to strategy and social media marketing and promotions. I've also written co-authored a textbook, but I mainly talked on digital media and marketing, specifically in the textbook, as one of the first people in the space to actually author content in that area. And I'm also an assistant professor at Missouri Baptist University, of which I teach in the sport management and exercise science programs, primarily on fitness management, sport marketing, as well as sport communications. I'd like to introduce my guest. I'll tell you one little quick secret about her. She loves coffee. So if you want to bribe her anytime, just get her some coffee.
You're not wrong there. Hi, everyone. Hello, Zag fam. So I am the co-host of Zagging 101. I kind of got started with being the Missouri Coordinated School Health Coalition Digital Media Consultant. Now I'm kind of with the Mo Health School Health Initiative. I'm also a freshman counselor here at Missouri Baptist University. And I have a passion for any kind of physical activity. I took exercise science, so I have a little bit of a background, but I also am a soccer and softball coach. I am a dog mom to that cute little dog over there. She's a Great Pyrenees Lab mix, and her name is Nala. And as Guy was saying, I am coffee obsessed, so if you want to bribe me, I will take you up with having coffee with you anytime. All right, let's get started.
Well, guys, all I can tell you is we had to bring in the stars for this episode. We have 3 very special guests. But before we introduce you to them, all we'd ask you guys to do, because I'm doing this for our replay viewers, guys, you're going to be seeing this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so that way you guys get all the latest updates and alerts straight from us right here at Zagging 101, as well as MoShape. So I just want to get you guys to hit that subscribe button. So with that being said, our first star, or our first guest, is going to be Drew Burris. Drew, if you can unmute yourself and just give us a little background. You've been doing some live streaming as of late in your classes, and you've been making video for a long time. I was wondering if you just kind of give us a brief background on you.
Been teaching PE for 10 years now, pre-K through 2nd grade. I started the live thing up this year because I figured, people would like to see live. People would like to be kind of in your house watching what's going on. We have students that are virtual. We have people that are, in class. So I wanted to provide, well, here's what's going on with our live students, and I also send out our virtual things. I've coached high school soccer, coached junior high basketball. Recently, I'm now a junior high JV football announcer. So they keep giving me more, more jobs to do. I've been published on PE Central, the Great Activities magazine, and then the new Games Gazette that came out by Artie. There's a lot of good stuff that's in that magazine, so been around for quite a while.
Well, welcome, Drew. Our next guest, or star, as I would like to say on this episode, is Danny Garcia. Danny comes all the way from the state of California. Danny's actually kind of one of the newer people into the video content world, but Danny, share a little bit about your background, because right now, I think you just broke, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, your 100th video in less than like 3 or 4 months, which is absolutely insane. And talk to us about Danny Garcia.
All right, so as Guy kind of gave me that introduction, yes, I am new to the game. I started my YouTube channel back in April. Again, just kind of like the idea of like, how can we get kids active and moving? And I wanted to do it for my students. So I said, why not, send it out to the multitude of people out there that might need some support or need some ideas. And I just became this like do-it-yourself PE game guy who creates a bunch of stuff. I'm actually at 120 now, Guy. So you guys have 120 different activities that you guys can definitely check out on my YouTube channel. I've been teaching now, this is my 7th year. And you know what? Because of COVID, it actually helped me to continue growing as an educator in the whole like technology realm, because I used to be old school and like put everything on a piece of paper and grade it because I just didn't want to deal with technology. But I definitely feel like I've grown a lot because of COVID, and I'm grateful that I'm here with you guys and being able to share my experiences with you. So thank
Absolutely. Well, welcome, Danny. And last but not least, certainly someone that's very well known in Missouri for a variety of reasons is Brad Brummel. Brad, you can unmute yourself. And Brad has the distinction as he was championed by DESE recently, kind of at the midpoint of COVID, if you would, during the summer, to take on a massive project, which was to create basically a statewide reentry PE resource that we called MoReady. And so Brad has spent a lot of time working with also Patrick Fine, as well as Sally Schulte, as well as 12 other teachers at the various levels. And Brad, we're so happy to have you on because you're going to bring kind of a different spin to today's discussion as well. And we know you're from the Springfield area right here in Missouri. Just wonder if you could give a little more background for our viewers.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Guy. So my background is I taught elementary PE for 10 years, taught middle school PE for a couple years, and also taught a couple years of online high school PE with the Launch program here in Springfield. And I switched roles recently. This is my 3rd year into what I call hero support, because we all know that teachers are the real heroes, and now I'm just supporting them the best way I know how. And that kind of gets back to why I do what I do. I was blessed early in my career. I was raised with 2 PE teachers as parents. And so I grew up surrounded by high quality PE. My college roommate in PE is an outstanding PE teacher in Kansas City. So I stayed around it in college, and then right out of college, married a PE teacher. And my wife is an amazing elementary PE teacher here in Springfield. So I've been blessed just within my early career, and now I'm just trying to give back and do everything I can to help teachers and help students. So happy to be here.
Thank you, Brad, and thanks for that. That's just a great story. All right, Lauren, let's go ahead and dive in.
All righty. So we are going to start off with how to create focused content. And another way to kind of think of this is, how are we going to create content that sticks? And Guy, I'm going to throw it right to you.
Yeah, so guys, one of the things that you've heard me talk on, those of you who've been watching our broadcasts, I talk on this all the time, is that we need to be relevant. That's why it's so important that the number one thing I tell anyone who wants to get into social media, it's just really important that we do social listening. And that's why I do a lot of it. You guys will find out next week. We're going to introduce you guys to a new tool called Hootsuite that we've been using here to help us do that social listening, as well as manage, all our social media accounts. But the first question you want to ask yourself whenever you're going to create, content, especially video content, is you want to ask the question is, what is my audience interested in? But here's the caveat: right now. And the reason why you want to ask that question, because I can tell you from running the analytics from the spring to the summer and now early here in the fall, as we've been looking at our analytics, even here for Zagging 101, we're seeing a shift in kind of the way this content's being consumed, what types of audience we're having. And that's why you want to ask yourself the question, what do people want right now? And I can tell you right now, the reason why we have these 3 experts on is because right now the number one thing being consumed especially in the PE space is videos that are targeting to help teachers. Brad, you hit it on the head. It's support. It's those resources, and we're seeing that just time and time again as we look at those analytics. And then with that, Lauren, why don't you tell us the second thing to consider?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so you have to pay attention to get attention. And so the second thing is, what problem are you trying to solve for them? So why is it important to them to watch your video? And I think it goes kind of back to your niche. if I might say. And that's to really kind of focus in and be like, this is why I'm doing my show. And that's kind of, if you refer back to our mission statement, that way we are making sure we're aligning and making sure it is important to you by social listening and solving the problems that you guys all have. Anything to add to that, Guy?
The only thing I'm going to say is, like, why is it important to them? And I can tell you 3 weeks ago, I learned a lot in our Q&A from Terry Drain, who's on this, and Brett Fuller may be on actually riding his bike, listening in as he texted me earlier, which is kind of cool. But I got to tell you something, you know, you want to understand why this is so important to people, and getting that feedback really helps us from week to week, which is why we're doing Hootsuite. Danny asked a very great question last week in the Q&A. And that is there a tool out there that we can basically mainstream how you basically manage all those social media different channels and platforms? That's why we decided to go with Hootsuite next week for next week's show, because of what's important to people. We're getting more and more feedback. Hey, yeah, I'd like to know more about that too. All right, so the last thing I want to touch base on is then the thing you want to consider: what is the proper tone that aligns with my brand, but also relates to my audience's feelings? For example, you know, number one, the proper tone, part of that's going to be, again, on what platform you're on, right? Every platform, as we've talked about, you know, Instagram, we talked last week on that. That's a different audience. A lot of the people in that audience is going to be your future professionals. That's a different tone than, say, this audience that we have right now, as we're broadcasting this on Twitter, as well as making it available, the replays available, certainly on YouTube. But how does it relate to my audience or my audience's feelings? And that's where you want to pay attention to what's going on. That's another reason why we have all three guests on, because they're in the field working with the professionals, and they have a sense of what their needs are. And with that being said, I want to open it up now to the panel as we get into this. You know, when you guys think about creating your content, and Brad, we'll start with you. When you look at how you create your content, what kind of goes through your mind as you start to think about, as which says here, you want to think about your audience's feelings, you want to know what's important to them. And I was just wondering what your thought process on as you create content.
Sure. So I've got two thoughts. One is when I'm creating content or trying to decide if this should be in a video format, I try to ask myself, is this going to help teachers? Is this either going to make them more efficient at their job? Is this going to make their tough job easier? Or is it going to make them more efficient? Or you can pose those same questions for the student. Is it going to, especially in the virtual world, if I can provide this short content in a video, is it going to make them more successful on their virtual assignment? And if so, then we need to prepare that content in the video format. And then the second thing I would say, Guy, is, you know, with the question, what is my audience interested in right now? When I got feedback from my 30 elementary PE teachers last year on our curriculum, it was loud and clear that they would rather, if they were starting up a basketball unit, they would rather spend 30 minutes searching Danny's YouTube channel and Drew's website than going to the curriculum document and reading through 20 basketball lesson plans. And so for me, that told me I needed to shift the format of my curriculum. And so now in each unit and each learning activity, there's a video with every single lesson, which is not normal when you think of a curriculum or lesson plan.
Right.
And so now I'm noticing teachers are accessing the curriculum a lot more simply just by adding videos into that same resource. So it just tells you that teachers are much more interested in a video format than a traditional lesson plan format.
Yeah, great answer. Great insight, Brad. Drew, how about you? Because you've had your website now for quite some time, and kind of how do you, pivot and try to stay as relevant as possible?
I always do videos. It seems like I get more views and more people asking, like, this is really neat. Can you show us more of it? But I also put pictures. I do lesson visuals. I make my lesson plans with characters, showing them kind of the diagram of what the lesson looks like. And at the bottom, it's connected to the standards. It shows them equipment, setup, the activity, how to play it. It also shows enrichments and modifications. I'll put the video up first, and then people will see the lesson plan, because I do a digital whiteboard. So there's GIFs running in the background for students who have trouble reading to kind of get an idea of what's going on. And if we film that, I can kind of cut that into GIFs for the video that I put up online.
Yep.
Students can see, and they have, I mean, their vision is seeing, this is what they're doing. We're going to do this today. So I kind of do the video and picture both at the same time. And I mean, you have people who love watching videos. They get more understanding out of it. And then the pictures, they help as well. So.
Right. And Danny, with you being relatively new to the game, you've been doing this since April. How you been pivoting your content now that you've created a library of over now 120 videos?
So if you would have asked me, like, what was my, where I would be doing videos a month ago, it's completely different where I'm at now. When I was on the show with you guys a month ago, I was focusing on just putting out activities and different games and lessons that, you know, could kind of like give different opportunities for different units. And now I kind of pivoted because I realized that a lot of us are still in that social distancing, you know, distance learning type situation. So, sorry, my son's blowing the whistle. You know, most of my stuff right now has been like, I do a fitness video called the Fast 5, which is like a warm-up activity that can be done in 5 minutes. And again, just checking the analytics and seeing what's working well. That's
right.
Like a big thing that's going right now is the analytics is showing me that people are into workout videos. So I'm doing those. And then just social listening, you know,
Yep.
when I'm on Facebook or Twitter, I'm listening to what people are saying. What do we need more of? We need
Right.
more activities with least amount of equipment or no equipment. And then just kind of figuring out different standards that I could hit while creating these fun lesson plans. Well, again, if their students are in a hybrid situation or they're at home or whether they're live in session at the school. So, you know, just putting all that together and then coming up with these creative lessons to help keep kids engaged in the lessons and get them moving. Cause that's the biggest thing for me is just getting them moving. Like they don't want to hear us. They just
Right.
want to be moving.
Yep.
And that's just been the beneficial thing for me moving forward.
Okay. Thank you. And Lauren, let's segue to the next section.
So this is video content. And before we dive in, I'm going to kind of get technical for a second. So whenever you're doing video, I just want to touch on this very quickly. But there's kind of like 4 steps to making your video. The first one is the hook. And if you guys have been on any zagging, you know that you have a very minimal time to grab the attention of your audience. So I would like to say probably around 5 to 7 seconds. And this is the part where you're going to tell them what problem you're solving because they're scrolling and they're going to want to know. They don't really care who you are at that point. They're just saying, are they going to solve my problem? So as soon as you hook them, I also truly encourage you guys to be extra excited during that part because that's where, you know, it'll be, all right, I'm going to go to the next person or, hey, I might stick around. Let's see what they have. If you get past that first, stage, then the second one is like the intro. So if you guys kind of refer back to our Zagging 101, we kind of start telling who you'll be kind of with today. And I think then you kind of really go straight into planting the seed. And for instance, Guy did an amazing job doing this today with the Hootsuite. You plant that seed and answer the next question that they will have with your next video to kind of be that one-shot spot where they can come each week and like, oh, that's what I was going to ask next. Great. They're going to be next week. I'll just watch next week's episode. And that's really great. It's kind of a mini call to action without saying, guys, come watch my next video. The next one is your heavy lifting or your meat and potatoes. And that's where you're actually showing and solving their problem. I just encourage not to add a lot of fluff here because they just want their problem answered to get through that. And last is the CTA, the finale, the fireworks. You want to ask them, hey, subscribe to my channel. Hey, I would love you to drop a comment if you have, if you liked this video or something. So you know they watched it, they liked it, and you can start kind of cultivating that relationship. But also make sure this isn't like your end point. Make sure it's kind of like if you guys think of Netflix and you see like next video, really prompt them to kind of consistently come back like YouTube and Netflix does so well. Anything you want to add to that, Guy?
The only thing I would say, guys, this is the strategy for YouTube when you're trying to put something out like on your own channel, like what Danny does. This isn't necessarily what Brad would need to do with the Missouri resources for the state. But Drew may in some cases want to do that as well. It just depends on what your application is. That's why we have 3 guests that are kind of 3 different, even though they do the same things in the end, but they have 3 different approaches. That's why we want to show you that not one size fits all here with that. So with that, we'll go into what the video content is most of you guys know this part's pretty straightforward. You guys can get into the business of creating detailed tutorial videos. I know this summer, our Health Moves Minds committee put together 3 really good videos that really explain the Health Moves Mind model, what the program is, and got into some of the depth, especially for the administrators, by using these detailed tutorial videos for professional development. And then, Lauren, what are some of the other ones?
So another one would be teaching viewers new skills or activities. Again, that's kind of where you are kind of giving a free resource and serving your audience. And I feel like that is kind of what we have our panelists here for. They've done such a great job of offering and serving their audience and listening to get feedback to know how to teach them, as well as I feel like that's kind of how Zagging 101 kind of started. We heard the need to help individuals advocate through social media. And so that's kind of where our came from, was the teaching viewers new skills. You want to?
And then another one would be, follow along comment format. And that's basically what you see like Stephanie Lauren does, like with Ply Yoga. I think that's a great example of that. Or when you guys kind of drew what you're doing sometimes, with creating like live content. I know Spaker Spot did this during the summer, that, when they were doing their live shows, kids could literally follow along in real time with them. And that's just another way you can create video content. And Lauren, what's one more that people could do?
The last one would be like blogs, entertainment. I think this is really good to kind of refer back to telling a story instead of like showing a commercial. So this is kind of just making sure you're engaging, you're entertaining them, as well as this could be something about your life and get to know you more. Anything to add to that, Guy?
No, I think that's a great thing. We'll open it up to our panelists. And which ones of these do you guys do mainly? And we'll start with you, Danny.
I would probably say I'm a mix between detailed tutorial videos and teaching, because obviously, my job is to teach. So right. I try to come up with these creative lesson plans that are easy, that to follow along. All you have to do is just, and I even put like level 1, level 2, and kind of scaffold them so that it becomes more challenging. But at the same time, I always do this at the end of my videos. I put like a hashtag, the PE spot, because I want my viewers to know, like, hey, if you have a idea of like how you can modify this game or add to a different challenge, right, put it in the hashtag, the PE spot, and guess what? I want to be able to see it so then I could use it in future videos, or I could learn from you, because that's what it's all about. It's about giving each other opportunities to learn from each other. And that's my biggest thing about it. And then I would say maybe follow along, okay, if I'm teaching it like my workouts, my Fast 5 workouts, I'm teaching them different movements, and then I kind of go over it and then we do it together. Just because I don't want to say, okay, here's your 4 exercises, now go do it. No, it's like, I'm going to do it with you. I'm there working hard with you. So I feel like a lot of my audience appreciates that, because I don't just say it and then have you do it, but I do it with you. And I would just say probably those 3: detailed tutorials, teaching viewers new skills, activities, and follow along format. So I try to hit those 3. Not really vlog entertainment. I kind of feel like I'm a boring person, but that's just me. But yeah, I just, like I said, it's all about giving back to the community and working hard. So that's just me.
All right. So the point is, you're using 3 out of the 4. And again, that's why we have all these different formats. Drew, how about you? Which ones are you using?
I got about 3 too. I do teaching viewers new skills and activities. Our live sessions we've done, we've had people watch and they kind of go along with the students at the same time. So that's a little bit of, a follow along format. Even if it's not live, I usually show students doing the activities or skills. So I'm going to guess, when people see this, they're probably having their students kind of like, watch this if they're saving the video. Right. I got to admit, I am a part of the entertainment one. When I do my field day trailers, they're like 8 minutes long. And when I drop the green screen down and use the Do Ink app, I get really creative. If you've seen any of them before, and it's just, it's to provide a little bit of laughter, showing that I can outside of my box, and it gives students, they laugh. If you can make your students laugh, that's, that's just the world to them. I did back in the summer, I did a press conference. If anybody had seen that, we had decided to go back in session, and I thought, well, I can do like a press conference where I can have people ask questions, which it was just my wife sitting in different spots in the room.
That's awesome.
I gave her a list. I said, ask this question, but change your voice. And it sparked. I've got our school Facebook page that blown up, and there was a lot of laughter, but it also helped kind of ease the administration's job of emails coming to them saying, do they have to wear masks? Do they have to do this, that? You know, all the questions was surrounded with questions that parents would have to ask about their students. So I would say I'm about in 3, just like Danny is. I haven't really done a detailed tutorial video. It might be in the future, but definitely 3 out of 4 of those.
Yeah.
And
so Drew, I'm going to go post that tomorrow, that press conference. Just send me the link. Just text me. That's going out tomorrow, because that's definitely a mic drop.
Good. It was pretty good.
I know. We want to see it. You got us sold, so we'll check it out. All right. Last but not least, Brad, tell us a little bit about when you are thinking about the different types of video content, kind of what are your main go-tos?
Yeah, Guy, they're going to be the same 3 mostly. Sometimes the demo or the dance videos that we create for our curriculum turn into entertainment by accident. But the same 3 is the main categories, and my audience is obviously a little different.
Right.
But I'm just thinking from a curriculum standpoint, a lot of the videos that we are creating are used as a learning tool for the student prior to completing the activity or demonstrating their learning. And a lot recently has been, if a common complaint comes in or a common conflict comes in through email or phone calls from parents or students, then I might as well just create a video to show how to solve the problem and just send it out to all my teachers, so that they have that quick access and they can include that in an announcement to their students. But I would say in the curriculum world, we have the demonstration videos where we're going to show a student how to do a skill, and then it'll be the student's turn after that. So that would be kind of a follow, or I guess that would be a teaching category. And then the guided videos are very popular too, where they're following along,
right?
And they're doing the activity with you. But same 3, just a little bit of a different audience, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Thank you, Brad. And Lauren, let's go on to our next section. So now I want to talk about video quality. And this is a big one for me. I mean, I've been making videos for a very long time. Some of you guys might know a few years ago, I created my own video blogs on my own, training experiences. And I learned a lot at that point on really how to capture video and all the different elements to, video quality. And with that, Lauren, why don't you kind of take us through the starting point?
Yeah, so audio, I think number 1 is to test. Always test your video quality and make sure you're in good Wi-Fi so that you're not like lagging. Make sure it's very clear. If it isn't clear, a few suggestions would be like Guy has right now, headphones with that microphone right there, and just really ensure there's no background noise that could be super distracting for your audience. Anything else to add to that, Guy?
The only thing I would say is I know a lot of you guys do your videos in gyms. I know like our Christy Berry just did one. Actually, it was very cool with 2 kids as they were promoting, an upcoming event for us at MoShape. The only thing is that, Christy's voice just projects so well. And of course, they're all wearing masks in the gym. But that might be a case where you might want to use some lavalier mics. I know we had to do that as I host football coaches shows. So when I go on location, especially at like restaurants, we had to use lapel mics that would still also interface with our iPhones to be able to pull off our live broadcast. So it's something you really want to pay attention to, because if your audio isn't good enough, they can't hear it. It's kind of like the old adage is, you're going to lose people very quickly. So you definitely want to pay attention to the audio. The next one for me, this one's just huge, is video. And we'll get into this in just a second, but you got different options for video, and I can explain that on the next slide. I'll go through that with you guys on your different video options, but you really want to capture the best video possible. And that's where you kind of want to plan out some of your shots. And we're going to ask these guys that in just a second, how they do that, because capturing a video, there's a lot more to it than you think. And we'll talk about that in a second. And then lastly, Lauren, why is lighting so important?
Yeah, so lighting, of course, it goes back to the quality, and you want individuals to look, it needs to look professional, and a great kind of trick, natural lighting. So if you have a window and putting your computer or phone on the window and you're facing the window, that will have the best lighting. Obviously that's not feasible for everyone. There is the ring lighting you can get on Amazon. It's, I don't know how much it is. I just bought one the other day, but it's not expensive. And then another thing is, again, test, make sure the lighting, you can see the individual, you don't have any kind of weird shadows or anything, because that's super distracting and you want it to look professional. Anything to add to that, Guy?
No, actually, let's open it up to our panel. Anna, why don't we get Anna involved? She just did a video, by the way. She actually joined Spaker Spot yesterday on their video. So Anna, why don't you jump in, because you did the virtual one, and how was that experience? Then you can ask our panel based on video quality a question.
Well, all of the three apply right now. As you can see, the natural lighting hitting the side of me, kind of the sun's going down in the window. I have a window in front of me, and I have a window to the side of me, and I have a lamp on the floors to help with like all the lighting. So there's a whole bunch of things going on, but the video I think is really important, because when it comes to especially streaming live, you have to get right to the point and be specific and clear with how you communicate, what you're communicating, and you don't want to have any type of excessive speaking. It's got to be quick and efficient. So in audio, you don't want to have excessive stuff going on around you. You want to make sure you're in a quiet place, and as far as the quality goes, you always want to make sure that you can speak clearly and loudly, and that the quality is good. I have a really loud voice too, so I don't lack in that area of not being able to be heard. And I think from the screen, I think one thing I'll say that I learned the last night was, or a few days ago when I was making the video, is how to screen record from either your laptop or from your phone, and what type of apps are provided so that you can do that effectively while showing a video, while showing your screen and your content.
All right, so with that, guys, let's ask you, why don't you give us, give us some, just a couple, but give us a couple of challenges that you guys sometimes have with with you guys capturing the video, and then of course give us like that secret tip, right? I mean, look, when we got like people like Terry Drain on and Kim Ballard, and we got a bunch of states like Gary all the way from Indiana, and we've got a lot of different people on today. So give us that really good tip when it comes to counting for the video quality. And we'll start with this time. Let's start with Drew.
Okay. The audio, when I do my videos, I put it in iMovie. So I record everything through my iPad. If it's too low, you can take the audio out of the video and you can bump it up just a little bit to make it louder. That really helps with if I'm doing green screen, if you can't hear me, if it's too far away. I had the lighting problem on some things where, like, there's a shadows behind me and I have to redo it. I probably could make thousands of hours of blooper reels of me getting mad because I can see my shadow in the background. Is trying to get the quality right. iMovie is a great app if you have stuff that you can splice videos and then add it to where you can tell that errors got rid of. But yeah, that's mostly how I use mine. iMovie a lot for my iPad. For the lighting, I did a floor lamp. I went to Lowe's and bought one, and it shot straight at the green screen and it got rid of the shadow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, because the way I do it and where my house is, the windows on the other side where I've got the open wall, so didn't really have much luck with that. So
Gotcha. Brad, how about you? Because this is a big topic.
Sure. So for me, when I'm creating content, I think the best thing it takes a little bit more time, but has made the biggest improvement in my quality is just using some type of video editing software. So I love WeVideo. If I can get rid of 5 seconds of unwanted video, that's going to save time for my teachers. It's going to save time for the viewer. A lot of times you can add images, text, voiceovers just to make it more impactful, and it just improves the quality. And then once you get the hang of it, it does not take a long time, and those things play really nice with YouTube. And so that's been big for me. When we're actually shooting film or shooting video footage, one thing that commonly what happened with teachers is they'd leave the film, like where they'd leave the screen. And so just one thing we've done to fix that is just setting 4 cones where the camera can see, and it's almost like their students stay inside the 4 cones, and that's really helped a ton. So, because that's the worst when you have to reshoot a video just because they exited the screen once.
Right.
And then I think it's just being real. I think teachers or myself, you feel like you have to kind of be professional or a robot in front of the camera, and view that's not going to help your impact. People want to know who you really are. They want to see the real you. So just being real in front of the camera, I think, helps your quality as well.
Yeah, great points there, Brad. Big zag on that. Hey, drop in for our folks in the chat that software you're talking about. I'm sure there's a few people that may want to learn a little bit more about that. All right, last but not least, Danny, how about you? Talk to us about how you address your video quality.
So I actually shoot all my videos, all 120 of them, with my iPhone 6s Plus.
There we go.
Working on getting better quality, because obviously, you know, when you continue working and making videos, and this is something I want to continue doing for the future, you got to have the better quality production of stuff, right? So definitely want to do that. For my video, again, I use a tripod, so I just have the tripod there, and I have a little clicker button. So anytime I'm ready to record, I just hit the clicker button, and then I get going. I don't have anyone there to record me. As far as audio, and I was saying earlier, like, I'm pretty loud. I project loudly. So I used to use a lapel mic, but then I kind of got all tangled up, and I would exercise, then it all choke me, and I would just stop doing that. And as far as lighting, I have a lot of natural lights around my windows. And again, in Cali, it's always hot and warm, and the sun's out. So I don't really have any problem with lighting, unless I was doing it like if I had a blooper reel, or if I had something that video wasn't finished, I had to record it at night, then I'd turn on my lights and try to figure that out as well.
Right.
But the app that I use, and I definitely highly recommend this one, it's called KineMaster. So it's KineMaster. And again, kind of like what Brad was saying, as far as like WeVideo, as being able to edit and how to just add audio and video and sound effects. You know, they have a free trial, but I definitely recommend doing the purchasing, especially if it's something that you think that you're going to continue doing moving forward. KineMaster is definitely one I've used since the beginning. But it's just, with the more experience you get, the better the quality of the video is going to be. You know, I have videos where I'm like, oh my gosh, that was awful. Look at the lighting. I have shadows on my face. You see half my face, and it's just like, it just looks really bad. But you know what? Like I said, just if this is something that you really feel like you're passionate about doing, and you want to be able to support other educators out there, then definitely invest in yourself, as well as invest in the quality of, whatever you guys have. But again, anyone can make a video as long as you guys show your personality. And again, that's what people want to see, is your personality.
Yep. All right, Lauren, are we going to go through the steps?
Yes.
All right, guys. So the first question is, how do you just capture the video? And to keep it simple, and again, I'm going to show this basically, how easy it is, even from your own iPhone, or if you have a Galaxy. This demonstration is from the iPhone. I have an iPhone 10. And basically, the first step is just going to the settings and just scrolling down to your camera. You can see in the middle there's your camera icon. And then when you are at that stage, you're going to see this pop up on the right, and it's give you the opportunity to select these 2 settings. And believe it or not, they all do matter. Now, just to let you guys know, whether you have a Galaxy or you have an iPhone, those phones default at 1080 HD at 30 frames per second. That's a very common thing that people do. But I will tell you, if you want to get into the more of that documentary feel, this is something I've done a lot, is I will use that 4K at 24 frames per second. It's a different look. It also will, the video is not shot in 16:9 ratio. It's actually compressed a little bit more down. So instead of being like the rectangle is here, it compresses down more like you see a real movie. It has a different feel when you look at it, especially those that watch it on their, a lot of the services now for home, you can watch your YouTubes, right from your home TV now. And if you're going to do it that way, it actually gives a real like movie feel. So the 4K at 24 frames per second I will use, but by and large, by default, I mean, the standard setting will work perfect. And also when you record it, it's going to show it to you in a 16:9 ratio, which is what YouTube is. All right, step 2 will then be, how do you position your camera? Now, This is a mistake I see a lot of people make, because if you're trying to maximize your video, you want to have what we call your camera in a horizontal plane, unless you're making the content for Instagram. Now, you can still use this vantage point for Instagram, provided that you keep your content within the middle third of the frame. I've done that before. But if you're, for the most part, if you're going to put video that's going to be on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you always want to record and making sure that your camera is set to a horizontal position. Unless then again, you want to go with Instagram, then you're going to, you know, put it what we call the vertical position with that. And guys, I would assume with you guys are all using pretty much this camera position, correct? Yeah, okay. All right, let's go to step 3. Step 3, guys, one of the things that I really like, and we don't show it in this picture, but you have the ability to put a grid in. It doesn't show up in your recording, but it does help you align and getting the right perspectives in terms of spacing. As we've been taught, is that you really want to keep things, you know, just a little above center of whatever the main object is. And the real big thing, the pro tip here is, you want to use as many close-ups as you can to illustrate the content, especially for demonstrations. There's nothing more frustrating to me than to watch these how-to videos, even if it's for PE teachers. It drives me nuts. If you're showing something, you're so far away, and I can't see that detail that I need. So in other words, sometimes just having it on the tripod is not enough. And that's why it's kind of important that you can zoom in, zoom out, and be able to adjust that way. But I would encourage you guys to certainly use the 9 grids that's there. That way you can get the content really centered right where you want it. And then of course, it's really easy. You hit the record button, and when you're done recording, you can go ahead and then click it again. Then it stops the recording. And like Brad said, you know, here's the thing: if you're doing this by yourself on a tripod, you can start it, go run around to the front of the camera. When you're done, go run around to the back. And then what's nice, I can say this from the iPhone, it's real easy to clip off maybe the 2-3 seconds in the beginning and the end. That's real easy to do. And you don't want to have it look like that because it looks so unprofessional. So these are just some of the easy ways to record video. And now, Lauren, tell us what we do next after we record the video. We get the content the way we want it. What do we then do with it?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, if you are doing kind of like the way our panelists kind of are telling them, first you might edit it. Okay, so after you edit it or kind of splice it to where you would like the video to go, then we have all these different options. And so obviously, like Guy said, if you're doing an IGTV or an Instagram story, make sure it is vertical. If you're doing just a short video on Instagram, it can be horizontal. But then Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you can post it to all of those. And the reason I have Spotify and Apple Podcasts, you can actually take your video over and have those as podcasts for them to listen to while you're driving, and I think that is super cool. And I think I just learned that this year. And I love that, that's an opportunity to do. Anything to add to that, Guy? Yeah, the last thing I would do, and I'm glad that Brett Fuller's now joined us. Hi, Brett. And I'm throwing this out there because you and I have talked about this since you started making your YouTube videos. This is where we want to add our bit.ly link. So when you've got your video content, you want to create that bit.ly link so then again, you can track it to see how many people, had been looking at your video. Brad, I know the big one that you did recently was with the with our statewide in Missouri with that resource. And, tell us a little bit about the tracking, because we know that got up to over basically nearly 2,200 views, but talk about why using that bit.ly is so important.
Yeah.
Was this Brett or Brad?
Brad, sorry, this is Brad.
I'd rather hear from Brett, but that's okay.
No, we'll let him talk. We'll let him chime in a second too, because he uses it. So
with the MoReady resource, it was just important because it was really the first kind of resource that we had collaborated statewide on. And so we wanted to make sure that the time, not only of the teachers, but of the facilitators, was being well received, because if a resource like that's not being used, then we're not going to repeat that same strategy. But now that we know that it's been used by over 2,000 educators,
right,
we're already working on the next resource. We're already working on a MoReady fitness resource that will come out soon. And it's also helped me just at my own district level, because In the past, I could send information out in an email and I had no idea how many teachers accessed it.
Right.
Now I can send a video update with a bit.ly link and I know exactly how many teachers watched my communication, and I can compare that to other forms of communication as well. So it's helped me assess impact.
Well, yeah, thank you, Brett, on that one. And Brett, we will open it to you, because since you started doing your videos weekly, how has Bitly helped you? Can't see if he's on. All right. Guess he can't hear us. I know that he's been riding his bike, so he might not have heard us. So anyways, all right. With that, Lauren, let's go to the next slide. Oh, is Brett on? Brett, you on?
So, yep, sorry about that. I didn't unmute.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
So, yeah. Just basically, for me, like you were saying before, it's just tracking the impact I'm having. My first video we talked about a couple of weeks ago only had, 50 or 70 responses or views. And after going through some of the zagging tips and using Bitly, one of my videos was over 500 views.
Yeah.
So it's just a great way of tracking your impact, and then you can then go back and take a look and say, oh, why didn't it get the same impact I had before? I'm going to get off because I'm in traffic. So.
Okay, no problem. Stay safe. Oh, it's always fun. I always love hearing from him, because he was new to the game, especially, using YouTube and creating videos. So that's kind of cool to hear from him. All right, well, we're at that time where we want to, just thank our sponsor, Heart Zones, and Sandy Moore, and what an incredible relationship that we have with Heart Zones. We will be doing actually a special broadcast in the near future where we're going to actually get a roundtable professional to get together and actually talk about heart rate monitoring technology. And so we're really looking forward to that. And so let's go to our next slide. So Lauren, why don't you talk to us about the pop quiz?
Yes, so this week, the winner receives a free 1-hour video training session with the Zagging 101 co-host, Guy and I, and a choice of video content expert. So this is a big one this week. Guy, you want to give them the question?
Yeah, so you guys might want to get ready. So again, this is who's going to be first into the chat box. Obviously, that's the only way we can tell. And you want to be the one who gets the question correctly. So if you guys remember, at the very top of the broadcast, I mentioned a certain statistic. What statistic using video content will be trumping over photos and text combined? What number did I say at the top of the broadcast?
Ooh.
This is a good one.
It is.
Ooh, Terry Drain is the winner. Yeah.
Did you get it right?
Lauren, are you double checking? Are you verifying the answer?
Oh, I can't see the comments.
Hold on, let me open it up.
Okay.
Actually, 70% is not it. That's 70%
Oh,
that
no.
watch. 70% watch YouTube off their smartphones. That's not the answer.
Sorry, Terry. I let you down.
That's all right. Yeah. So I said at the top of the broadcast that there was a percentage that just dominates. Basically, when you use video content, this percentage outviews and outshares text and or images combined. Does anyone know?
I think that there is a correct answer in there, but I don't want to be 100% now because I was wrong the first time. So Lauren, do you see it in there?
I don't see it yet.
I don't either.
Okay.
It is verifiable because it is posted on Twitter. I posted it today, exactly 9 hours ago. I actually call it the all zag stat. Social media video generates as much as blank more shares than text and image content combined.
Well, Dennis said 82%, Terry said 80%, Kim has said 93%. Any of those right?
No,
No.
not even close. There we go. Who got it?
Victor.
Victor, winner, chicken dinner.
Yay, winner! Yay,
Okay.
Victor!
So Victor, you won a session for a free 1-hour training with your co-host here, Lauren, and I. And yes, you get to pick your panel expert, if you would, our guest. Which guest would you like to do this training with?
Let's see. Sorry, I do mostly dance videos, but I really want to learn how to use video a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I think that was Drew. You said you use, or was it Brad that uses video?
Brad.
As
Brad.
Brad uses that.
All right, Victor. So you got Brad. So we'll get with you and we'll follow up with you and we'll go through a 1-week training and we'll definitely let you come on, Zag, again and give us an update of how your training has worked. And hopefully you can share a link with us to something you've created. But yeah, Brad's definitely in that particular space. So Victor, nice job in getting that correct. Guys, the reason why that number is so absurd, it's to remind everyone, guys, this is how dominating video content is to our profession. This is the main way we're communicating. That's why I keep scrubbing all the latest statistics. And I was shocked when I saw that statistic, but it just tells you right now where everyone's at. The video content creation is so important, which is why we've had the biggest turnout we've ever had in Zagging 101 live as we have right now. So congratulations, Victor. And with that, Lauren, want to take us to the next segment?
Yes. So it's that time again. I would love if you all could take a few minutes and drop into the comments or the chat box your key takeaway from today's session. Like I was kind of talking about beforehand, this is so important to us. Not only do we kind of learn what you learned from the session, but also kind of to help us gear our upcoming topics. So please take a second and just kind of type in what you learned today. As you guys are doing that, Guy, do you want to wrap us up?
Yeah, so guys, next week is going to be a very special broadcast. This is a topic that we get asked a lot about. The question is, it's one thing as we've been talking about pretty singularly, pretty much either talking about, Twitter a lot. Last week we focused on Instagram, but we looked at the social media platforms in a singularity kind of way. Hootsuite is what's called an enterprise system platform that allows us to manage basically multiple platforms. It will basically allow you to do Twitter, allow you to do Facebook, Instagram, also will also allow you to do, the fifth one is LinkedIn, and as well as YouTube. So there's 5 main platforms that you guys can all use together. And we're going to do a live demonstration of it. We've been using it at MoShape for quite some time. Missouri Healthy Schools just got it this week. And this is something that I've been using myself for social listings primarily. It's what you guys will be fascinated when you see how this tool works. But for some of you guys right now, this is where you guys are at. And you guys are ready now to start looking at how you can manage multiple platforms to take your content and get it distributed to your various, target market groups, if you would. So we're really excited to show that next week as we roll out what Hootsuite is. And by the way, for those of you guys, obviously, mostly everyone on this call follows Shape America, and Shape America uses Hootsuite. So it's also a tool that, they're using, Joey Martelli's using, and all that content that you see that comes out, certainly on all the various channels, is coming straight from the Hootsuite tool itself. So just want to thank you guys for tuning in. What I'm going to do now is go ahead and stop the recording.